by relaxing into the unbridled natural rest. Unbridled in the sense of being able to run free. Kayan. Unbridled natural rest of unmodified pristine awareness. I received the blessing by which, without any point of reference, whatever arises, releases by itself. So this is the phrase Rangzhou, which could be natural liberation. That's one translation, natural liberation. Self-release, natural release. These are all translations that Lama Allen has used. But the Kangshar, whatever appears, naturally releases. And this is because you've realized the primordial ground that has never moved or changed. It's in juxtaposition to that ultimate stillness that you can release that which arises without being irresponsible, frankly. Because this is something I've actually struggled with a lot over the years, but also recently. When really serious things are happening, I think there's a really strong logical part of my mind that says, I can't let that go. Either until I've done what I need to do, or I've solved the problem, or I've attended to it. That's the bodhisattva responsibility. Our samayas to attend to that which is needed in all sorts of different circumstances. But it's only from the perspective of the ultimate ground that one can trust that sometimes doing nothing, resting in awareness itself, will effect the same thing as what one thought one's activity had to effect. But this is a real struggle. This is not a made-up, make-believe struggle. And I want you all to know that I'm not bypassing anything as an unrealized ordinary human being to be speaking about these extraordinary things. You need to understand at least what the ground is from which the blessing by which, without any point of reference, whatever arises, releases by itself. But then you can say it as a mantra to yourself when you don't think there's a way out. Learn these lines. Let them become like prayers you hold to realize what you don't have to engage with, so that you gain the blessing to know what is worth attending to, and it may just be awareness. And then this is the big one. I've spent weeks, literally weeks, with this Tibetan line passing through my mind. There is never time when Buddhahood is attained as a result of practicing formulated dharmas. Now, some of you may recall that in the earlier translation, I'd translated this, to my mind, in a way more literally, because the jepe che literally means things that are done, but it could be che as in phenomena, it could be che as in dharma. And so we have had verified from Drupal Lama Karma that this is referring to dharmas, and therefore it's in the sense of formulated dharma practices, dharmas where you do something, but not just in the sense of performed, like the lower tantras, but in the sense of there being any contrivance whatsoever in the mind. And so Buddhahood is not attained as a result of those practices, which sounds terrifying for the first 8 yanas, because they're all about formulated dharmas. And it's not saying not to do them. It's saying Buddhahood is not a result of causes. From a Dzogchen perspective, Buddhahood is not a result of causes. So there is no amount of merit you could gain that would actually cause Buddhahood. And that is a divergence from the Mahayana description of how Buddhahood takes place. But there's part of the Mahayana description that will say there's an unchanging aspect of Dharmakaya that you can only unveil. You can't achieve, even once you've attained this collection of merit and collection of knowledge. But it doesn't mean there's no practice that you do in order for Buddhahood to occur. See? And I think you all know this intuitively, but it's just important to make that distinction between the non-doing that you do and have to do diligently. As Yangtang Rinpoche said, okay, once you've realized Rigpa, 20 years in continuous retreat, then you could achieve Buddhahood in this lifetime through the practice of Tuggyal. That's not practicing. You see, it's not just saying I don't have to practice at all because formulated dharmas won't attain Buddhahood. Then we just continue to wander in samsara. It's understanding the very nature of causation and the difference between unveiling obscurations and actually causing something which could never be caused, because the Dharmakaya is uncaused. These meditations performed with cognition and intellectual analysis are an enemy that deceives you. And they become an enemy at the point when you don't need them anymore. I think that's a proper interpretation, because again, Dudjom Rinpoche would never say Vipassana he would never say that Vipassana never includes analysis, because the Lake-born Vajra is teaching analysis in what we call phase 3 of the Vajra essence. That's detailed analysis there. Not to mention the tomes of revealed treasures in Mahayoga, which is a formulated Dharma. So he is not degrading those or denigrating them in any way. He's simply saying, when you're at this point, could we imagine this as Dudjom Rinpoche talking to himself? Saying, I just realized this. I realized primordial consciousness in my heart. I don't need to do those practices anymore. And that's what he's whispering in our ear to inspire us for when the time will come. I love this next line. Now this imprudent madman, that's dome kinyumba. Do is like a sutra, but in the sense of a knot, and it can also mean a crossroads, as in Amdo is a whole region of Tibet, which is a crossroads. There are many crossroads there. But dome is kind of like reckless or unfastened. We sometimes use that word for someone who's unfastened, completely unhinged. If it had been a little more, you could have said this unhinged madman. He's unhinged. But what is he unhinged from? Dualistic modes of apprehension, Zintang. And Lama Tsongkhapa uses that exact same phrase in his 3 principal aspects of the path, the Lamge Tso Namsum, where he's referring to what needs to be shattered by your realization of emptiness. So that this is a direct parallel of these 2 verses. And Zintang is a philosophical term for the way that you're holding, the manner of grasping. And so he shattered them, shikpa. So this imprudent madman, you could even say this unhinged fool, who has shattered his reality, fantastic, spends this human life, and now it's a joke. So you could even say throws away this human life in a state of casual spontaneity, lying down. He's throwing away his precious human life in casual spontaneity because he can rest in the sheer nakedness. And this is something Tripin Lama Karma pointed out. Even though the word is naked here, but it does mean naked in the figurative sense of realizing Rigpa nakedly. It's not that he's literally saying lying down naked. But the words are there, Chernyel. So you get this sense of the radical freedom. The freedom of someone who knows he'll be the last Buddha of the eon, and he was already a Buddha before the eon began. That's the radical freedom of Dudjom Rinpoche that he's giving to us here.